Welcome to episode 45 of our board game podcast, A Master's Degree in Rolling Terribly. I'm your host, Dirty, and I wish joining me as my co-host, a man who's just blinking like a pack of rabid hyenas. I mean, we point and he destroys, and we legit now have a new scenario, goal/timer/special rules from now on, but he's not here. So in the meantime, I guess we'll have to settle for Gaz. Say hi, Gaz.
Hi, guys. Well, at least I know what episode we're up to, right? 45 episodes in, and at least I can get the intro right. So,
Yeah,
yes, definitely. We are on a timer. We are on the fill timer. So at any moment, the podcast could just end.
He's like, guys, I finished it.
That's it. I'm done. Sorry. I just killed it.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. And like, this is the timing or window, I guess, now that we're in, where Phil's actually coming into his own again. It feels like we're playing with the Deathwalker again, and holy crap, it's borderline disgusting. And yeah, I want to have a little chat to you about that a little bit later, because I have seen some stuff floating around the community about not Phil, but
he's already out there. He's gotten outside of our table, and now people are hearing about Phil. They're like, "Oh, shit, Phil's OP, like just OP as."
Yeah, he's got his own channel. He's got his own podcast, and he just sits there and just talks about himself.
They didn't playtest Phil enough.
No.
No.
All right. On today's episode, we're going to cover scenario 68, the Face of Torment. And towards the end of the episode, we're going to do scenario 15, the Ancient Spire. And in between the two scenarios, we're actually going to cover our outpost phase that we had in between, where we had a retirement and unlocked a new building.
You know, if every week we have to fight a boss and then we manage to squeeze in a second scenario, we're probably going to be done by like end of Jan.
Yeah, you're right. It's rare that we've actually been able to get a few of these doubles in. Normally it's more we're doing the one scenario twice sometimes, so it's kind of
yeah. Well, I feel like as well, every time we would try to squeeze two scenarios in, it would always end up being midnight and we hated our life, and we were doing that whole get too drunk, I'm never drinking again, until it seems like a great idea and someone's like, do you want to do two? Like, yeah, 100%, let's go, let's do two.
Yeah,
but it's worked. We've actually managed to finish both of them in a decent amount of time.
That's true. And
are we just getting heaps better, or is it because of Phil?
Phil.
Yeah,
I think it's Phil. That's the type of scenarios too. Scenario 68, the Face of Torment. This was the final grand finale of my PQ on the Snowflake, Neverending Story, Part 4. And we actually had a sneak peek of this last week, because we actually finished, I think we did only one. Yeah, I think we only did. Did we do two last week?
Oh, no, you're right.
We did one.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, the second one no, I don't know.
No. We did Fists into Sunless Trench. That was the last duo we did. And then we did 67 last week, knowing that we were going to jump straight into this. So we set it up last week for this week and read the special rules, and it kind of seemed kind of gross. We weren't 100% sure if it was gross or not, but it kind of looked kind of gross. And we've had all week to prepare for it. And then we came to the table unprepared for it, which is pretty cool. We did not have a road event this week because it was a Force Link. So take that, Gunslinger. We didn't get that wrong.
Yep, I can't forget that one.
And then, yes, scenario 68, scenario gold. Scenario is complete when the Tormentor is dead. At the end of that round, we read a thing. Now, the Tormentor, believe it or not, is a Chaos Demon. And
this was actually pretty cool. I like this.
Which one? The scenario?
The rules.
Oh, yeah, the rules.
For the Tormentor.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, we've gone from only having one for the first year of Frosthaven in one random weird scenario that we did, the Chaos Demons, which is why they went rock bottom and they didn't feature much on our tier lists, and now we're just seeing them back to back over and over again, these Chaos Demons. Special rules. So the boss has two specials. One which was ranged, which causes hazardous terrain after it does its hit, and hazardous terrain kind of explodes on every empty spot around the actual player that takes the hit. And there's another melee one which creates icy terrain explosions. And the other kicker is, and this is the one that probably is the one that made it feel a little bit gross, is the boss kind of goes twice. He actually goes on the Chaos Demon card as well as his own boss card. And definitely made things interesting.
That's the part that I thought was really cool. So just a quick side quest rabbit hole. There's for those that play role playing games, specifically the Dungeons and Dragons role playing game, so roll your eyes. But like over the years playing it, one of the problems you can get is you put one big boss against 4 or 5 party members, and the action and economy just basically kills them. Now I know there's a whole bunch of different rules in fifth edition with like legendary actions, they go again, blah blah blah. But that's the kind of I know a lot of the solutions that I've seen over the years have been like give the boss multiple turns. So in an initiative pass, they might go multiple times, and then as they take more damage, they kind of lose some of those actions. Because that way they're not getting they do one hit, they roll badly, and they're just done for the turn while you get 5 people laying into them.
Mm.
And I felt that's what this did, but on a really random element, and it meant that we had to deal with different things happening. So it could have been just like, oh, the boss goes at 1 and goes at 99 with the boss's special cards or something like that. But because it was the Chaos Demons, there was times that they drew a card that we was gross and we didn't like, and we're like, oh, okay, that's okay, but they're over there. I'm like, oh no, wait, but it's this guy as well.
Mm.
And so I thought that was a really, really cool thing. It was a really well designed boss to be scary,
It was hard to
right?
plan around.
Yeah, rather than just be big boss hit for 15, like the fist when we did the Heart of Ice or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was just basically like, oh, I'm gonna make you discard a card every turn.
Mm.
Sometimes I'll make 2 people discard cards, and sometimes stun, right? Like so that was scary from a high numbers, but this was scary from you didn't know what it was going to do, but it was going to do a couple of things,
Yeah. And,
and that was
and,
cool.
and like I said, the planning part of it is, oh, he's going early. That's okay. I've disarmed him. That's great. Oh, wait, he's not disarmed anymore for his second attack, right? And you don't think like that because naturally you don't think about the second card that's coming up because they're in different initiatives. So when you're looking at X-Haven, they're appearing in different spots. And one's going
Mm,
before the other. And it throws you off. And you remember and then you forget again. And that was pretty much most of it. It was him getting away with a whole bunch of stuff. We had a challenge card and it was combustible. So we
yep.
drew combustible. We're still drawing one, and we're keeping it obviously because we're taking on any challenge we get. Whenever any enemy dies, one character closest to itself is 1 damage, or 2 damage if the scenario level is 4 to 7. Which, look, in a boss scenario is probably not going to show up too much, and I guess it really didn't for us because we weren't killing waves and waves of stuff. So that would have been interesting on the last one that we did when there was just waves of crap coming at us and we had to deal with that.
Yep.
And monster combinations were Chaos Demons, and this is an interesting kick. So when we did the Elemental Cores one, we took the 4 rooms and we brought the cores back, and then they're the demons we dealt with Scenario 67. This is the one where they're like, oh, remember the 2 that you didn't do? They come in here. They come in this time. So we actually had Wind Demons and Night Demons accompanying this particular fight, and they will actually spawn from adjacent spots or on opposite sides of the map. Around the boss, and then on the other side, of course, you got a portal that's just flowing with Chaos Demons, and ultimately that's the overall setup of what we had to get into. What were your initial thoughts on setup? So the setup of Scenario 68.
Well, just before that, like I love that we were like, oh, these are the 2 we don't want to fight, and in the elemental core ones, the game was like, no, you just fight who I want you to fight, right? Because we opened the doors, going, let's not open the Night Demon door because that would suck, and then we open the like Frost Demon door, and it's like Night Demon's like, hello, like we had to fight him anyway, and then when we did the last one, we're like, yeah, cool, because we chose these 4, it'll probably be a bit better because they're the ones we've got, so that's what we're fighting. And then when you fight the boss, it's like, I hear the 2 you didn't want to fight, remember? So you can fight them again. So again, I did like that. That was cool. Yeah, look, it looked. Uh, it's always interesting going into a scenario knowing there's unlimited spawns, right? So I think that was one of the things for me. It was looking at it going like, okay, this looks not straightforward, but as in a straightforward plan, right? Like it doesn't look easy, but I think we had a pretty good plan of like, all right, we're going to go that way and just try to kill the boss. What was concerning looking at it was from this outset was how bad is it going to get? Right? Like, how swamped are we going to be? Are we
Yeah.
going to be all like surrounding the boss trying to kill him? And we're going to have like 10 other mobs all just laying into us?
Mm,
And that's where the question was. But without too many spoilers, we had one of our players manage to make that not really a problem.
yeah, it was Mark.
Yes.
Funnily enough, so the boss had 108 health, which is something to think about as well, because I don't think we've actually fought anything with that much health. I think that was a new thing for us. So that kind of does look a little bit scary. And I mean, I was throwing 4 damage hits at the very start to 2 different things, and it was kind of like, this is going to take a while. Forgetting that, you know, we had Blinky
Phil.
McBlink over there who was just going to run up and start hitting it. And yeah, one of the things we had to decide at the very start was, and this is what I'm loving about our group right now with our current class composition, is that we're looking at the scenarios, and Mark gets there before you guys do. So sometimes he and I are sitting there and I'm setting it up, or I've set it up, and he's like, cool, so where are we starting there? Okay, cool. What are the rules for this? Okay, cool. And he's already planning what he's going to do. We all have carved out a bit of a niche as to how we're going to actually play, and we all have kind of roles that we're trying to fulfill in said scenario. So Mark's looked at this one and said, I got the Chaos Demons. And he was going to maze them. And that's pretty much what he did against the Pillars last week. And he's really good at it. Like, he's really good at that planning out that spatial puzzle of knowing how to get how many traps out so that he can actually force, almost like a TD, the mobs to go a certain way because they're not flying. There was that, and then also he has another trick up his sleeve, which is remove flying from a creature, which he then used on the Tormentor, because the Tormentor is a Chaos Demon, but he is special because he flies. And bring him down so that we can then take advantage of some of the hazardous and slippery terrain that he's making. So it was a big kudos to Mark. Obviously, Phil was going to go in there and do heaps of damage to the boss. I was going to do supplementary damage to the boss, and Gaz was going to do banner stuff.
Get my mastery.
Yes, that's right. Gaz was going to do his mastery.
Yep.
So yeah, this from the setup, I immediately was like, this is going to be a boss burn simulator. And it was just burn the boss. That was the plan. Just get in there and just beat it up. And you know what? If we can get poison out there, it's amazing. Which I was worried that we didn't have anyone that poisoned because we went around the table, but it turns out the banner spear poisons.
Yep.
The least poisony character that I can think of in the group.
Yeah, it's true. No, but snowflake sounds not poisony.
No, sounds brittly, but I don't get to do that.
No, I didn't get to that either. Yeah. Yeah. We got poison on there. We jumped in. I got a Healy banner out, kept it alive, healed everyone up, got rid of things like Bane that pop on people randomly. So
yeah, and then Phil went in
it's
there.
actually been really timely, right? Like, we haven't had a lot of little heals. Like, the heals that we've had through the characters we've had here have usually been decent sized heals, with the exception of your AMD, right? Like your flip over, heal one ally. And that's probably been let's get rid of a poison, let's get rid of a wound. But the two scenarios we've had Chaos Demons, which are like, have a card that says eat anything to bane you. We've been like, oh, that's okay, because we've got this banner that, as long as I'm within 3, heals me at the start of my turn. So that's actually been an accidentally, like, a really good counter to that, like, potentially, like, really bad situation.
Yeah. And it works in spades because you kept it alive all the way till the end. Now, let's just go out and say that Phil went Super Saiyan on this thing. To the point where he was actually muddled a lot, and he would crack the sads at one stage because he was, planning his turn and he was muddled and it wasn't as effective. And then he just redeemed himself by, I don't know, Blink Blades do something where they play something that damages them over and over again, but it lets them play a third card. And he makes use of that. He's also got a hat that I gave him that I found from a previous scenario. I didn't give it to him, sorry. I sold it and he rebought it. That allows him to look at the top 3 or 4 cards of his modifier deck and then reorganize them, which is pretty disgusting. So he's got all these tools.
Well, it's particularly disgusting with another card that he has, which is the Lucky Dice.
Lucky Dice.
So those two combined are gross, because he can basically guarantee, like, he looks at it and says, yeah, I'm going to do heaps of damage.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. So just what you just said then about the hat made me think of, like, a really weird real life analogy. It's like if you had this really cool hat and Phil was like, hey, that's a really cool hat. And you're like, I don't really like it. Like, I think I'm going to sell it. And Phil would be like, I'll buy it off. He's like, I'll sell it to cash converters for half of what it's worth, and then they can sell it to you for full price. How about that? And him being like, sounds like a good deal.
Yeah. Well, how else are we going to get around that? I mean, I could just hand it to him, but, the helicopter, right, would just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, so maybe that should be a house rule. I'll post it on the Reddit.
Oh, yeah. I don't think anyone's actually come up with that yet.
When you sell something to the store and get half the gold, someone else can buy it for half the gold.
Yeah, or maybe another player can opt to be the store, so at least they get something out of it.
Yeah, that's there you go. You can sell items to other players. You can't give them, but you can sell them.
but they can't use it. So there has to be someone that's not going to use it, like a
What do you
middleman.
mean?
Well, I sell it to someone, right? I sell it to you, for example, and then
Hmm.
you sell it to Phil.
Why can't you just sell it to Phil?
No, because that's against the rules. I'm
What's
saying
it's like 2 times against the rules to give it to me and me give it to Phil.
no, for
You
some
just bring it in
reason,
an accomplice. Like I
yeah,
don't want to get involved. I don't want to like be smote by Isaac by association.
no,
Like
no, it's
so
never
no,
happened.
that's cool. And then there's a class that it's a merchant class, and they get a discount when buying and selling to other players.
Mm.
There you
I
go.
like that.
See?
I like that. Money bags. So yeah, Phil went
Money.
Super Saiyan on the boss. He ended up doing an absolutely insane amount of damage to this thing. And I mean, I did some as well. I think it was mostly he and I, and then Mark was playing a lot of stuff, and you were trying to get the banner in a safe spot. And
I think what the scenario went for what, like 6 rounds?
5.
5 rounds,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was 5
And in
rounds.
that 5 rounds, I reckon I spent at least 3 of them trying to position and or keep my banner alive. And then it even took the very last turn. So here's the level that Phil went to, right? So he killed the boss and still had two card. No, I don't have 2 cards, but he definitely had a bottom move and another attack left to go, right?
Unless
So
it was
this is
unless it was an attack move attack, one of those cards that he may have had that he then
yeah,
used the second
might
one
not
on
have
you.
been extra cards, but he definitely had a movement and an attack still, right?
Yeah.
And I think it might have been 2 attacks because Woody was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm done here." I'm like, "Oh, can you move?" Because what
Your
the
banner's gonna
situation
die.
that
There's
had
a night
arisen
demon
was that
there.
there was a night demon who'd gotten next to my banner, and because of the way summons work, which I'm new to, they summons always pull aggro over you. So I couldn't pull aggro off. It didn't matter how early I went, right? Unless I went before the night demon, and I tried, but I
That's
think
right.
6 was too late. So I don't think I was at 6. I think I was at like 20. It was at like 18. I was like, oh no, it's gonna kill it because it was gonna hit it real hard, right? But then comes in my hero, right?
Casual as anything, by the way. It was like, oh, I can get him as well. Do you need that?
Yeah. And and then because he went so fast, because he was like really, really quick and he killed the boss, I actually didn't need him to kill the night demon. I just needed him to stand next to the night demon so the night demon would hit him instead.
Mm.
And he's like, can you? He's like, Joe, oh, I don't know if I can kill that. I was like, you just need to stand next to it and then my banner survives. He's like, oh, okay, I'll do that. He's like, oh, I attack it. Oh, 12 damage. Okay, it's dead then, I guess. Like, what are we doing? You accidentally killed the mob I just wanted to just stand next to. So yeah, my hero Phil, I feel like he should get half a perk tick for me helping me accomplish my mastery.
Yeah, yeah. He should get recognition for. I would say that even though the banner spear you're playing gets it, I think that he will go down in our group as having completed that mastery. So it's
Yeah,
kind of under his
correct. Yeah.
name. All right.
Actually, I'll do that when we play next. I'll put in a little brackets like a asterisk Phil, so
Yeah.
that like it's just really clear. Anybody who ever looks at the like the history of the game and flicks through our bit, he's like, oh, banner spear mastery. Oh, Phil helped. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
I was very set on not set, but I accepted that you weren't gonna get it. Like towards the
No.
end, and it was just like, oh, it's done. All of us have nothing, no way of stopping this. So no, it was pretty amazing. So yeah, we basically cleared the boss in 5 rounds, and we got our rewards, which was finishing the PQ. And that quest line, yippee doodah, and we got to add a section event in 2 weeks, and that was kind of it. Kind of sad that we don't get more things from some of these. What were your thoughts on scenario 68?
Uh, it was good for a boss fight. I think we talked about this a little bit in our top 10 worst or best scenarios, but I mean, I think we both didn't enjoy the Heart of Ice one, Change Your Heart. Is that what it's called?
Mm,
The
change your heart.
I think we didn't really enjoy that one as much for reasons which we won't go back into. And I think whereas it like the Frost Prince one we did because that was kind of like a boss, and same with the tree, which also felt like a boss. This one felt like a boss. I felt like it was bossy, even though we deleted it. Well, so Phil deleted it. I don't think that's due to poor design. I think that's probably just due to Phil being over OP. So this scenario did feel cool though and challenging again, even though it lasted like 2 seconds.
Mm, yeah,
So
it wasn't overly stressful. It was a pretty obvious DPS race,
mm,
and it'd be interesting to see kind of how the different makeup of, again, I say this a fair bit, the different party makeup.
Mm.
You can get this with an early team, like a drifter or blink blade.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
imagine that. Because if you can pull this in your starting characters, can't you?
yeah.
I
So
mean, you do have to wait like 84 weeks before you can get to the boss. So maybe you can't get here with starting characters. It's impossible.
yeah, I don't know. But it is, yeah, interesting to see whether or not, because I'm putting a lot of emphasis on what Mark did as well, because he kept those chaos demons at bay. They weren't coming in and muddling us and
Mhm.
ruining our lives right from behind.
Yep.
If we don't have the trap, those guys get involved, and all of a sudden this becomes slightly harder, right? It becomes a
Mm.
slightly hairier. How we would have gone with our initial lineup with, Deathwalker, Bone Shaper, and Geminate and Drifter. It may not have been as it may not be a problem. It may be, quite similar. It's just hard to tell. It's just seeing how we did it and then trying to picture a different, setup of
Yeah.
trying to do it is quite fascinating. That's all.
Yeah, that I 100% agree. Yeah, and yeah, I know we mentioned it at the start, but yeah, while Phil was the one that deleted the boss, Mark made it so that all of us could pretty much ignore 50, 60, 70% of the monsters in the scenario. We only
Mm,
really had to deal with like the one that was next to him.
yeah.
And again, I think Phil killed that one as well. And then the ones that were summoning, and you did some good disarming and immobilizing. And then we just, by that stage, the Night Demon had like 1 or 2 turns.
Mm.
So it didn't really have a say. But yeah, all the chaos demons down the other end, even the ones that spawned, they didn't draw good on their movement
They
cards. I know they've
really
got some
didn't.
big ones.
Yeah.
They were drawing like ones, twos, threes, but even still, like even if they had drawn better, we still would have funneled them because he had them going all the way around and like that. So they maybe get a couple more hits in, but they're not the kind of jump all over us and ruin our day like we had in the last one.
Mm.
So yeah, you're right. You're right. I think yeah, between Mark and Phil, kind of really did that. So
The other issue is
although you
that
did big damage, hang on. I think you're forgetting your moment of like your massive snowball.
yeah, I saved some snowball turns. Most of my damage was going into the boss. I think I finished on about 40 or something like that in 5 rounds, which is all right. Average of 8. Okay, that's pretty good.
Pretty good
Um,
for like right clicks,
pretty good for a support.
Crystal Maiden. Yeah.
Yes. But we finished in 5 rounds, and that meant that we didn't really kill a lot, which means that not a lot of loot dropped, which means our hungry town is still crying for help, and we didn't get to bring back any of the goodies from that one,
Yep.
which is a shame. There's sometimes it's these boss fighty ones where you got to burn something down or complete some objective really quickly. You're not going to have that luxury of looting, and I think this is. I don't think you could take your time with this fight,
No.
and do all that. I think it's just designed in such a way that you are meant to get overwhelmed,
Mm.
easily. The other thing I was
I
gonna,
think
yeah.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I think the thing with the loot as well is it's like we're getting back to town and celebrating how victorious we were, and we're parading Phil around like, hey, look at this, we vanquished the big demon, and then everyone's like, did you bring us food? Like, and by food we mean lumber, and we're like, oh no, but we killed the big demon. They're like, yeah, cool, well now we're gonna starve.
Yeah,
Like,
we can't eat
could
a
you just like
demon.
could you stop and like grab some berries or something like that on your way back from the demon? Like, so yeah, I feel like we are neglecting our duties as I don't know, overlords of Frosthaven, keepers,
There's
wards.
wards. There seems to be an interesting back and forth also with people regarding their enjoyment of boss fights in this scenario, and this is what I found online. Um, they're saying that the boss fights like this one, etc., are really quite underwhelming because they're very tank and spank and not very exciting. You look at maybe the you look at 21, and what makes 21 different to this is you have to go through a giant ass gauntlet before you get to the boss. So
Is that the trees or is that
that's the
Prince?
prince.
Yeah.
you know so the fight ends up becoming interesting because you're pretty ruined by that stage
Mm.
most times, whereas this one, it's right from the get-go, get straight onto him, and it's left a lot of people just saying, oh, it's kind of like the two camps are the people who are like, I just want to go and hit stuff, and I just want to, which we talked about ages ago, versus the people that want to solve a puzzle. So the people that want to go hit stuff, they achieved that, but also some people are doing it too easily, so it's like, well, that was not really fun, that was not really a challenge. um
Yeah. Well, I mean that's probably like if you go, is it sorry, 21, 20 what?
mm.
Yeah, 21. So 21 is fun because I think the whole scenario is fun and the boss is at the end of a fun scenario. Whereas that the boss is like the only thing really in this scenario, and same in A Change of Heart, right? Like in those two, it's really all into the boss. You know, I mean, especially Change of Heart, like there's literally nothing in that.
You don't
We
even have to
skip
kill the
most.
boss and change your heart, right?
No, is go kill the thing next to the boss, right?
Yeah.
And just ignore all the monsters, which is even more lackluster. Uh, that's where I think the tree one is probably somewhere in between because like that had like a mini gauntlet. I mean,
Mm,
having harrowers in it's gross. But like that's I know we had to restart that first room because we just caked it the first time and got wrecked by those shriek fiends. But then the shriek fiends spawning in the tree and the retaliate like that felt a little bit more like there was more to do and more to figure out rather
mm,
than just hey, there's a big tree, kill these monsters and then go kill the tree, right? Or hey, you're on a timer, you just go kill the tree quickly. So that one kind of fits in between. Yeah, I don't know if that counts as a boss fight, but yeah,
no, I
I,
like
I
it.
I'd agree though. I'd agree. This one I liked more than the Change of Heart because of the boss mechanics,
Yeah.
because it was actually trying to do something.
Yep.
But yeah, I can see if people have had similar experiences and had like a fill in their group, then yeah, you could just be like, oh, that was lackluster and
Mm,
underwhelming.
mm. Um, Ormy scenario.
Nah. Well, I feel like
100% no.
if you bring a mark, it's fine because then Ormi will also maze his way through, but he's
Wouldn't he
probably
maze
going
his
to
way
get killed.
back to the Chaos Demons the other way, maybe?
Oh yeah, he'd be like, "All right, guys, you guys got the boss. I've got these
Yeah.
chaos demons." We're like, "No, leave them alone. We're gonna kill the boss." Yeah, good point actually. So Mark would have had to like maze him as
Ooh,
well in a different
yeah.
way. Yeah, that's next level.
You can't even trap him either because after a while he's like, well, I can't go anywhere, so I guess I'm going on these traps, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
exactly. So,
uh, and
what
yeah.
yep, okay.
I was gonna say community, even though I squeezed a little community one in there. So I did a Google search, and some guy called Dwarf on Reddit wrote, "We won it in 3 rounds. Blinkblade melted the boss. I think you either melt the boss or lose here. Not a great scenario." Oh, okay, big,
Okay,
big,
dwarf.
yeah, big dick
Like weird
dwarf. Like,
flex. Yeah, that's
yeah.
it. That guy probably is like, probably not doing much anymore. Probably is not involved with community anymore. Like,
Oh, I just thought it was really funny. Yeah. So what we won it in 3 rounds. There's a flex, right?
yeah, I reckon. Okay.
And then someone else said also our Blink Blade also absolutely eradicated the boss. And that's not an also from us. This is a chat about how so many different Blink Blades have eliminated this boss. Uh,
So I'd be curious to see a bit of a data skew of like enjoyment based on uh groups that had a blink blade and groups that didn't have a blink blade,
yeah, okay.
right? Because I feel like I feel like if you polled those two groups, one of them would be with blink blade was lackluster. We got it done in like 3 turns, whatevs, and the other would be like, oh my god, like is this even ever possible? Like this is the worst scenario ever, and I hated my life, and we couldn't complete it.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're at very opposite. Both groups probably didn't really enjoy it that much,
Yeah.
but one is finishing it and moving on with their lives. The others are just can still watching the never-ending story part 4.
Yeah, and the other one, the other tiny group, subset group is the groups with the Blinkblade and the Deathwalker, I think would be an interesting one. Will it get to the 3rd round? Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Battle goals for this one. I don't actually have them this time. So I'm still in the Snowflake right now. This is the Snowflake's last one. I had Wastrel, and the whole purpose of me doing Battle Goals A is to, if I complete it, it goes into our used pool. So I can get rid of one that no one really cares about. And I haven't been doing that.
Just for anyone new that didn't hear back way back when the battle goal variant we're doing is that when we complete a battle goal, we put it in a like a lost pile, and then we just cycle through all the other battle goals until we get low in number, and then we reshuffle.
Yeah.
It's just so we have more variety, so we're not getting the same ones again and again. Yes, we know that it's probably nerfing us and making it harder to get perks, but for some reason we keep doing these things to make the game slightly harder.
Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, we've got a doozy coming up that's going to make it harder again. So Wastrel, lose a card to negate 2 or less damage from an attack. That's what I had. I did not do that, even though I could have done that earlier in the fight. It was one of those ones that I'm like, oh, I haven't done my battle goal yet. Can I do this? No. I just wasn't getting hit hard enough and all of that, so ignored. Straggler, never short rest. I don't know who had that. Peacemonger, never kill an enemy. Who had that?
Me, I think.
Oh yeah,
Oh no, is that never kill an enemy?
yeah.
Oh no, I think I had plebeian.
Oh, you have Levian. Okay, yeah. Never kill an elite enemy, named enemy, or boss.
Oh, Phil had the never kill an enemy one, and
Ah,
he killed. Well, that's the thing, because his logic was, well, we're only going to kill the boss, so
right.
I'll
I'll
just kill him, and
weaken
I'll just make
it.
sure that I don't do the final damage to him.
Yeah,
And they were like, you realize that you just kill everything instantly, and it's funny because he was the only one to kill any enemies, which killed a mob and the boss.
that's right.
So yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
he failed that. So that's two we failed. So you had plebeian, never kill an elite enemy, named enemy, or boss, which you would have completed.
Hmm.
And Mark had never short rest, which he probably completed. Like, it's
Yeah,
hard
I
to mess
assume
that one
so.
up. And he wasn't in a situation where we were like, no, you can't afford to short rest right now. And then we have that. Now, we've got Mark has given me my damage meters, which I'll be putting up as soon as where are they? Here we go. All right. So damage done. We had Phil on 77. And that was pretty much 77 probably into the boss, a little bit on the Night Demon or whatever. That's pretty good for 5 rounds worth. Actually, that's
Not
huge.
bad.
That's
That's
nuts.
ridiculous. I mean, we've been talking about this for a bit now. I think 2 scenarios ago, we did one where, or maybe it was the one before, where he didn't do very well and he was pretty sad with his performance and he still did like 70 damage. And I
Mm,
was like, wow. I mean, imagine when we find a scenario where you actually everything clicks and you do really well. He found one of those, but it only went for 5 rounds. Like, I mean, he's going to drop off a lot when that card drops off. But he definitely seems to be at the moment the definition of like, burn and fly way too close to the sun.
yeah.
Like he is going so quickly that he's going to pump out all what 70 damage in 5 rounds, but it's probably going to drop off.
Well, his damage con numbers look like the very first damage burst he did was 12 into 5, 5, 3, 6, 3, 24. That was the double crit.
Double crit.
Yeah, the double crit from the lucky dice. And then like 5, 15, 5, etc. So yeah, it was just dumb. What he's been able to pull off with that. So well done. I had 40. So the 77 and the 40, there's your boss dead. Um, we had Mark on 5 and Gaz on 4.
Yay!
So,
I think one of that instance of 4
uh-huh.
has it got the instances there? Because I reckon one of them was a just a 2 attack, like as in a normal like top just basic attack,
Yeah.
but I used my poison dagger, and I reckon I probably drew a -1. So I think I did 1 in poison.
There's a 1 and a 3 in
Yeah,
your
yeah.
in
So
your
yeah,
in your
that would have
final.
been the one because I walked up and punched it, but I poisoned it. It's like, all right, I've enabled poison. You guys can
Yeah,
now do the extra
that's
damage.
fair. And Mark only had one thing in his column and it was a 5. So he did 5 damage and 1. So there you go.
Oh, that was a trap. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's right. It was on the boss. So damage taken, Phil took 32. So yeah, Phil did a lot of tanking in this one because he got up nice and close and then couldn't seem to drop aggro from the boss, and then spent a lot of time trying to get out. I want to get out. I want to get out. Got punted out right behind all of us and the pillar, and then got stuck there because he couldn't get back in again. He wanted to get back in. Wanted to get back in. I took 10. Gaz took 6. Mark took 5. And then healing, I did 2. Gaz did 8. Phil did 6. Mark did 0. That
yeah, there
was
just wasn't again, there wasn't much need for healing. Like, well, okay, hang on. Have you added up? Did Mark add up all my overheals?
uh
Because they should be in brackets. There's some at the top.
oh, I'm looking at the charts. In the
Ah,
actual, yeah, there's a
yeah.
couple overheals. 12
Don't,
overheal. Oh, that's right. The 12 overheal. Oh no, he didn't
yeah,
include them.
yeah. That's fair. That's fair. That's all right. I just found that there's so much chance for just padding healing numbers.
Mm, absolutely.
So,
So if that's scenario 68 in the books, that's that
mhm.
PQ in the books. We had our outpost phase. We hadn't done one in 2 scenarios due to the forcelings, so it was nice to come back. We got attacked in our
Yeah, that's getting
outpost
rough.
event. And this particular attack, interestingly enough, just started off with double wrecked. So we actually had to pick 2 buildings between a certain range of building numbers and actually, yeah, wreck both, which then we had to then fix. But it's funny because we haven't looked at a lot of the wrecked things, and now we're going through them and we're turning it over, and it's like, oh, start the next scenario with disarm while this is wrecked, which is kind of like, oh, we kind of have to fix that. It's
Mm.
these kind of things are happening, right? Start cursed or disarmed or lose money, lose hide. Not that we care. It's interesting. It's actually really interesting that these wrecked things that we're now experiencing for the first time, or I should say, these outpost phases that we're outpost attacks that we're now experiencing are finally getting to the point where they are becoming a potential problem. Whereas before we were just sweeping them under a rug, like, who cares about outpost attacks?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how they've managed to make the numbers go up to be relevant to our strength. Like,
There
I
could
feel like
it could be
it's
newer
kind of
events sliding in.
yeah, okay, so we must just be getting those new events. They've done a really good job with that because it feels like it's getting harder
Mm.
the longer we go, which is cool. And I feel as well like when we first started doing the attacks, we were who cares about wrecking stuff because we'll just repair it, but we'll do that because we can. Now we're actually reading the negative effects, going like, this is really
Yeah,
bad.
it's really bad.
Like, I just assumed that if it was wrecked, it just meant you couldn't use it. I didn't realize it was actually like constantly draining your resources or doing shit stuff to you.
But also in the past, we had the resources to throw at
Yeah.
whatever. We don't have that anymore. It's actually getting stressful because we just don't loot anymore. We're not looting, but also the scenarios aren't giving it to us. We're actually not money. We're not getting money at the end as well. All these events that are usually getting collective money and all of that. It's really starting to, what's it called, like funnel down, um, you know, on top of
Yeah.
us and becoming
Yeah,
quite
it's starting to
tricky.
yeah, it's starting to all those little things are all
Mm,
starting to build up, right?
yes.
Like spending money on this on resources and draining us and not collecting any and then not getting these loots and having these scenarios that are over really quickly or we're not killing lots of stuff. Like even the change of heart one, right? Like we barely looted anything because we just went straight for the boss. And then
Mm,
we did the Sunless Trench, which we also didn't loot much. I think towards the end you guys started collecting a bit, but there was heaps of mobs we didn't kill.
no.
Right,
Yeah.
so again, we didn't really loot much even in a longer scenario. So we've gone 4 or 5 scenarios really without looting.
Mm,
Probably really since like the crab and maybe when Phil was on his meteor, like where we're building burgers,
mm.
right?
True. Well,
Uh
Mark also was looting a lot in his Bone Shaper with he had a card that allowed him to loot through a pet or something like that. Because
yeah,
he had so much cash at one stage, we were calling him, like money bags, like,
yeah.
Daddy.
Papa,
Yeah, yeah. But can you buy
yeah.
us some lumber, please? And buy us some soldiers and all of that kind of stuff.
So yeah, no, it's definitely becoming we're gonna have to start focusing on loot. Like I've got a couple of loot cards, I think. So
Yeah,
I'll just
well,
have to
hopefully we can do that in the next scenario, Ancient Spire, because looking at the rules of that, there seems to be a lot of mobs that we can clean up and actually loot a lot, actually. So it's exciting, and I'm talking about the one that we did already.
ah,
Hopefully
the
we
one that
can
we highlighted and went like, "Hey, this looks like a really good loot scenario. We
really good
should
loot
loot heaps."
scenario. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
cool.
Daddy is retired, as in me. Sorry, I have retired the snowflake.
Yay.
Finally, it's happened. Whenever we retire, on the back of the board, it always says write this thing in the next 4 weeks or something like that. No, mine says write it next year, during the middle of some weird summer or whatever
8
like that.
weeks.
Yeah, something
8 weeks
stupid.
into the next summer.
Yeah.
So, like, it was like the ultimate end to the never-ending story where we were waiting forever, and they're like, "Okay, cool, this is done. Now wait." It equates to about another 17 weeks or something like that, like,
It
from where
will
we are?
will
It's
be
crazy.
mid next year when we finally, be like, who's this? Like, I don't even know who this
You're gonna come
is.
back, yeah, with there'll be a completely different party. Frosthaven will be either Metropolis or a hole in the ground, and you're gonna rock back up and go, "Alright, I'm back."
Yeah. Here's a
Yeah, or
shovel.
maybe you'll come in riding Falcor.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
you're like,
Well,
"Falcor!"
what we did get was to get to open another envelope, and this was very exciting because envelopes have been really good to us lately, and we got to unlock one called the
The Pokemon
Stables. That's
hut.
right.
Pokemaster hut.
That's
Yep.
right. And it was so cool when I opened the envelope and I brought it out. And all I could see was a piranha pig, a little sleeve deck of cards. And I'm like, what is this? Stables. And it was kind of that moment where the pieces are coming together and, we're talking and I'm getting the stickers and putting them in the rule book because I'm still not sure how this is meant to work. And then once we worked it out, yeah, we get, once we build it, which we did, we get a net, which we've given to Gaz. Gaz is our Ash Ketchum. And yeah, when a creature's on 1 or 2 health, you can use an action or use the net or whatever to capture it and take it home to your stables. And these pets all have unique once per scenario abilities that we haven't gone through. That we've just only seen the Piranha one because it was the one on
Mm,
top. But holy crap! What a interesting, along with the challenges and the loot coin thing, which we're really not working on at the moment. Yeah,
yeah.
it's another building that has just changed the direction in a way of
Yeah.
the game.
And the only like the thing that comes to mind is this: I want to be the
Yeah,
best there ever was.
you can't. You,
Yeah,
you can only hold four though. Base stables can only hold four pets. Okay, we're gonna
that's
need
okay.
to.
We'll upgrade it.
Yeah.
Because to train them is my real test.
Nah, kind of. You kind of getting it. You're kind of failing it.
Yeah, I know.
We
It's
got
because you messed me up.
yeah.
I need the rhythm. I need the power ballad
Oh
music in the background.
yeah,
To
I can't
catch
do that.
them is my real test. To
I
train them is
might
my cause.
post
Yeah,
production play the song in the background,
yeah.
and you can record the vocals later.
Because I'm gonna travel far and wide.
Okay. We upgraded the town hall, so that's really cool as well because we get two cards now and we get to choose one. This is a very interesting thing that's happened because when I go into the next scenario that we did, we had a very interesting choice, and it's kind of messed up. So I'd love to talk about that shortly. Gaz, now that we have the stables, what have we decided we're going to do with the stables and the pet system in our campaign of Frosthaven?
This is the best. All right, so everybody listen up, calling all everybody,
Yeah.
right? All listeners. So we like naming things, okay, but we don't like picking the names. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna name our pets after our community members.
Mm.
All right. So the way we're gonna do this is if you join the Discord, okay, and you come in there and say hi, we're gonna add all the people who are active in our Discord and we're gonna put them in a pool and we're gonna have it randomly select a person and then name we've got one pet. Oh, spoilers.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's fine.
When we get our first pet, we will
Yeah.
name that pet after the person who we randomly select.
Mm.
And what we'll do is we'll announce this each episode, like that we have captured a pet. So hypothetically, imagine we caught a pet in our next episode, and
Yeah.
this was the announcement for that.
Yeah.
We would tell you now, and that way you can join the Discord, and you really have up until probably the day before we play next to kind of come in there and say hi. Now, we've already got a bunch of people in there, so we're going to auto include everyone. Just let us know if you, for some reason, you don't want your Discord name or your username to be involved. We're completely fine with that. Just message me or Dedians to say, hey, I don't want to be Pokemon. Yeah, take me off the list.
Yeah.
But we're going to do that. We're going to keep doing it. And depending, the other
Yeah.
thing we decided, depending on how it goes, right, and how many pets we get and how the pets work, we might just randomly select pets as well. We
Yeah.
might shuffle them up and just pull one out and say, you know what, this time we're taking this one. And I don't want to assign any names to anyone yet, but it could be dwarf. Be
Yeah.
like, we're bringing the dwarf,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
Dwarf the piranha pig.
And that way we're kind of stuck with, my thought process with this is that, there could be meta pets or pets that are clearly better than others, right? Dwarf might be clearly better than Weedy. Unlikely, but you know what I mean. And there's a world where you're only taking the same two pets all the time and all the other ones aren't getting picked. So
Yeah.
we're going to it's going to be like a challenge card. It's like, which random pet are we bringing this time? And
Yep.
then we're going to,
That's exactly it.
bring that one in and hope that it has a moment.
Because you know what? People make house rules like, hey, play more cards, just take as many cards as you want, just do whatever you want. Don't get missed or crit or whatever you want. We're like, how can we put house rules in to make the game slightly harder without any reward? Because we could just bump up the difficulty and then we get more XP and gold.
Yeah.
But no. Let's put these little incremental things to make it harder,
Yeah.
and gain nothing out of it.
That's
So
right.
that's what we're all about.
Just slowly bumping up the difficulty and complexity so that we don't loot as much because we're stressed out slightly more. And Frosthaven's going to be, like you said, a burnt town in the next coming months. So
Yep, and then when we meet Isaac in 5 years at some con and he's talking about the podcast and we're like, yeah, look, Frosthaven was really good, but there was these really weird rules that made it hard to play, like the battle goals, we never saw good ones come up, and randomizing the pets. I don't know why you decided at that. He's just going to look at us and go, do I need to get in my helicopter and punch you? Or,
we're like,
yeah.
no, we spoke to Dwarf and he actually gave us these guidelines of how to play. Like we only go through him. The house
Yeah,
rules
that's
he
it.
came up with.
Yeah, he was doing a seminar on how to play with 75 people in the one Frosthaven campaign. And amongst that, he said you should randomize the pets.
Yeah, exactly. So we're randomizing pets. Good luck, have fun, and hopefully you get to come with us.
Yeah. If we hypothetically catch a pet in our next scenario,
Yeah, hopefully. Who knows?
hopefully.
Well, let's find out. So, scenario 15 is where we went to next. Now, scenario 15 is our down the unfettered line. So, it's side by side with scenario 16, the derelict elevator, which we did forever ago. In fact, the snowflake, it was the snowflake's first scenario. So, yeah, come full circle.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's geez, that's and we've talked at length for how long the snowflake was
I've only
around.
just thought of that. Yeah, you're right. That was so long ago. So that's how long I've been playing the Snowflake. Awesome. I'm back on the Shackles now. So I'm switched out to Shackles. Yeah.
I was on the Gemini in the derelict elevator.
Oh shit. Yeah, you're
I
right.
retired the scenario after the derelict elevator in that halls. That's when I retired my Gemini, and I went through an entire crab.
Yeah. While I was, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, and then came back third thing in on a Banosphere. So yeah, it has been a long time.
Yeah. And now we're going back to some of these early ones. So we're deciding to travel down Unfettered Line. And we did the other one, Scenario 15, Ancient Spire, because we've already done 16 and, more of that's already unlocked. It's just, well, let's start this other one and just get really confused and hopefully make some really dumb decisions along the way. So our road event heading into this was another interesting one that involved one of our stickers that we had a while back, and we got to do that again. It was similar to one that we had a while back, where it's like, "Do you have this sticker?" And we're like, "Hey, we do," and it was like, "Cool," and we were really excited. And then it was like, "Cool, put a another card. It might have been another event card in the winter or summer road event deck." So it was kind of like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll wait and see what happens here
That's right.
with this one here."
Yeah, and I'll say just quickly, without going into the details of that one, these are some of the best moments in the way that this is game's designed. Like Frosthaven, I don't think it happened that much in Gloomhaven, but I'm sure it did a bit. Where you do something, you make a decision, and you get some kind of little mini, not even a reward, like a sticker, you can call it a reward or whatever. It's like a breadcrumb of a reward, and hey, something else cool might happen later. When that comes around and you know that you're getting this cool thing because you made the right decision earlier,
Yeah,
it is a really cool feeling.
it
Like as
is.
soon as it said, "Do you have X sticker?" collectively we were all like, "Oh yeah, we do. Yes, this is so cool. We get to see the next step of the puzzle." And I think that's it's a hats off to the designers
Mm,
because as clunky as it can be from you may not get it or it might take a while, the feeling and the payoff like is just through the roof.
yeah.
I feel anyway. I think
No,
it's such
it
a
is.
really cool feeling and experience within a game to kind of do that and get rewarded for yeah.
Nearly every session there's something that's giving us that kind of feeling, whether it be a level up or something. There's always that moving forward and progression and surprise. And if they can do it through a random event deck and achieve it the way they have, it's big time kudos.
And that's the thing. I think that's with all the like little nitpicking do around the randomizing and the fact that it can be wonky with the ordering of some of these things. It's like maybe that is just the price you pay for having this really long kind of constant payout. Like it takes a couple of years in the sense of building the decks, but now we're going to start seeing a lot more of those. It's like the first year or two is almost seeding the deck with all these cool follow up kind of
Mm,
situations so that it does keep ramping up, which
yeah.
I guess is something that, yeah, it starts sounds like it's starting to happen.
Mm. Two things I forgot to mention from the outpost phase. We had two section events. One of them was the second one to the one that we did with Phil and only Phil, the invasion at the dock. So we had an event that gave us the second one to that, which is for Phil's PQ. So scenario 72 unlocked, and there was another section event that I can't really remember what happened, but the only major detail from that one was like, do you have this building? If you do not, then do something in 3 weeks' time. So we put another one in there. I have no idea what that's about. It's always annoying when we don't have a building when the game's asking if we have a building.
Yeah, because it means we have to wait.
Oh no, and it means we messed up somewhere by not building that building. And it's
Well,
probably
that's the
Mark's
opposite
fault.
then, right? It's the like, hey, did you have this? And like, no, it's like, okay, well then you can have a thing, but you got to wait.
This whole game is waiting. That's all I've been doing.
Wait, Haven.
Yes. All right. So scenario 15, scenario goal. It's complete when the Chaos Lieutenant is dead. There's special
We
rules.
just can't get away from these chaos demons.
It's insane, right?
It's
It's
ridiculous.
just insane. This is like four in a row now, I think, or something stupid. Weird rules. Oh, special rules. There were some weird rules about tiles and targeting. Okay, I'm not going through all of it. It's a nightmare. Basically, looks like we're on a floor, and someone needs to actually climb up, kind of like Mission Impossible or something, up a railing to get to a level above and deal with an idiot up there. Mind you, this idiot has like 20 health or something like that, which just didn't feel right after what we just
No.
went through. Our challenge card. This is what I wanted to talk to you about. So we drew 2 challenge cards for this one, and we were in a really interesting spot because we had to choose one of them. And when you go through them both, it was kind of like pick the worst of the 2. So the first one that we actually had was feast.
Just before you go through that,
Yeah.
I'll quickly explain the room we're in and how that, because that ended up affecting our decision.
Okay.
Right,
Yes.
how we do it. So basically, the room, we're all starting in one room. It's reasonably sized, and it's full of the triangle robots that do
Bolt
multi-target
shooters.
attacks
Yeah.
to pretty much everyone, 3 and 4 targets. The objective of this one is to kill the Chaos Captain. Captain
Lieutenant.
Chaos, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
And someone's got to go there. Once one person goes towards him up to those other rail things, no one else can go.
Yeah.
Cells obviously going to be Phil. But during which we have unlimited spawns of the ruined machines, and then this Chaos Knight dude, he heals equal to roughly the amount of robots,
There's an
the
equation.
ruined machines
Yeah.
that are there. So basically, the idea is that we've got to kill as much as we can, and then someone's got to go up and kill him. If there's too many things alive, he's going to keep healing, and that's essentially what we did. But the only reason I mentioned that is because specifically there were 6 of these machines that were targeting 3 to 4 people, and pretty much going to hit everyone because they're about range 4. And that's kind of what went into our decision on which of these to take. So now take it away.
Yeah, well, funnily on that, with the robotic bolt shooters, I still don't really respect these things. So leading into this scenario, I was just like, onto these guys. Ugh, what are they going to do? Pepper us with 1 damage each time? Like, big whoop. That changed. My opinion of them has changed slightly.
Did we tier list them?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure I called them Mare
and they
Blasters.
probably would have been in the bin, right?
Yeah, in the bin. They're not in the bin anymore. I've taken them out.
No, and that's the thing. I think the scenarios we got, which again, if we think about when we got them, right, we just talked about how long ago it was that we were here. They were in that hallway one, and maybe one other. We got some in the that Smash TV episodic one, whatever that was called. My favorite empire, my own empire, whatever. And so when we got them, I don't know if we were lower level, but they seemed very lackluster. I remember them only ever doing like 1 damage.
Well, in those areas, sometimes they were like that my private empire, the room that we're in, was really large. So like much larger than the one we're in now. And in the other scenarios that we did, they were at the end of a hallway and there was 2, maybe 3. In this room, we started off with 5, right? We started off with 5, 4 elites and 1 normal. And here's the kicker. We were disarmed from round 1.
Oh,
because of our enhancer was wrecked. So we went into the scenario disarmed, which
I don't want to go too far backwards because now we're back in the outpost phase again. But there was a discussion about this at the time because we had 2 buildings that got wrecked. We had that one and another one, and there was a general feeling that being disarmed at the start of a scenario, it's not that bad, because I think the logic went, and I wasn't really part of this conversation. I think I was making dinner at the time, but the conversation went, Daddy's on his shackles. Like, wow, I love starting with disarm. That'd be great for me. It's like, okay. And then Mark's like, I just put traps down.
That's
what do
right.
I care? And I don't get Phil's response, but I think he was going with I don't do much in turn 1 because I mostly just prep. And it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, I guess. Yeah, I suppose everyone doesn't really need to do much turn 1. We usually prep. So let's not repair that building because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
It mattered because we started about 3 inches away from a whole lot of monsters that were going to do heaps of damage to us.
Targeting 4. Yeah, all the time.
And I'm pretty sure, again, we'll get back to those those challenges, but I'm pretty sure everyone went through the cycle of like, okay, I'm disarmed. All right, I'll look through my cards. Oh, I forgot that I was disarmed, and I'm gonna have such a good turn. Okay, cool. Now I've got this. I got my initiative ready. Okay, cool. Oh wait, we're disarmed. Oh wait, hang on. I can't do either of these things. I better go back. It's like that. It's like each individual person went through that kind of realization of like, oh, what if I? No, but I'm disarmed.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it turned into quite an interesting wreck target. So our two challenges going into this were Feast and Famine and Optimism. So Feast or Famine, remove all +0 attack modifier cards from the monster attack modifier deck at the start of the scenario. So get rid of all the zeros. And all enemies are immune to curse. So from a basic modifier deck, every deck I think has 5 or 6. I think it's 6 plus zeros. And we were going to remove all of them, which meant that, yeah, it was going to be a little bit more. We don't have that safety net of the zeros. Not that that's really a safety net, I guess. It's just kind of, it's either going to be way less or way more.
Yeah, we talked about that. That was the idea. It's like it's going to be super swingy, and that's the Feast or Famine, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be
which is cool, right? And then Optimism, whenever you reveal a negative or miss attack, negative, right? Negative or miss attack modifier card from the monster attack, treat it as a +0 instead, which is also kind of gross, like really gross.
And this is the thing again. Remember that we could see we were about to get shot many, many times by lots of things. So things attacking for 1 or 2, you can kind of guarantee you're going to get a couple of red cards in there. In which case, they just don't do any damage. That one card was going to remove the chance that they did 0 damage.
Yeah.
Like it is impossible for them not to do any damage because the miss was gone and also the negatives were gone.
Yeah. And yeah, that's right. I'm just trying to work out whether or not do these two like stack. Like, can you get? Whereas I'm under the assumption you can hold 2 when you get to the next level. Maybe you can hold 2 of these, so you can bang them out faster, right? Because you need to complete the whole challenge deck to get something in a certain amount of time. How good do these go together?
Yeah, I'd have to get a clarification on Dwarf, but the way I would read it is that you remove all zeros because the card gets removed out of the deck.
Yeah.
Right. And then anytime you draw a red card, it counts as a 0.
Yeah,
so you can still hit for 0, but there are no actual 0 cards in there.
No, it seems kind of.
And there's also no miss.
No.
So it would only be zeros, greens, and crits.
Yeah, nice. That's Phil's deck.
That's it. What, zeros in Phil's deck?
Sorry, no. So yeah, our monster combinations are runic bolt shooters, otherwise known as meh blasters, which are getting upgraded to ouch blasters. Not so meh this time, I wrote ruined machines and chaos demon.
Yeah, and just quickly, so we chose Feast or Famine.
We did.
Yes, just in case anyone was following at home.
Yes. Initial thoughts, guys.
Look, I was like, yeah, this looks really cool, and we could probably do heaps of looting.
I also thought that. I was like they're going to spawn ruin machines.
I wasn't that worried about the bolt shooters, not because I didn't think they were not going to do anything, but because I have an okay amount of life, and I can also do some heals. So I think my first turn, I was like, that's fine. I'm just going to go really late, wait for everyone to get shot, and then heal everybody heaps. And it didn't really work.
No. Knowing that we're going to get 3 ruin machines, normal ruin machines as well, who have 6 health when they spawn at our difficulty, I have a card that literally lets me do 6 damage to myself with, 4 damage to myself with fire and choose 2 targets or other different ways of doing this that do 6 damage. I was like, mate, we're going to clean up down here eventually. We started off on the back foot because of that disarm, but we're going to clean up down here and we're going to keep looting. And yeah, obviously we sent Phil to go up there and deal with the thing, but not just yet. Help us clear up some of these down here. The guy upstairs is going to take forever to sort of move out of the room, and he did. And we were just going to use this as an opportunity to get lots of loot.
Yep, that's it. And Phil actually wanted to go up there turn 1.
Yeah, he did. It was probably not like, he needed to stay down.
It was interesting because I think again, I don't want to speak for him, but I think talking through it, he was in the impression that he wanted to get there quickly because he didn't want heaps of ruined machines spawning, right? Thinking that they were going to get out of control, which makes sense because the more the guy was going to heal, and then he thought he wasn't going to kill him. There was two kind of things that he didn't consider with that. One, we actually probably can kill them at a reasonable speed. Even though I think by the end there was still heaps alive. We're actually not that bad at killing stuff.
No.
2, he forgot that he just one-shots everything.
Yeah.
So healing doesn't matter when you do 30 damage in a round.
That's right.
Like, it's like, heal what? The guy has 18 health.
Just do what you did before.
Yeah, like, you only need to draw 1 crit to kill him.
No. So he stayed down with us and helped us clean up the bolt shooters and all that. I played a little differently on the shackles where I actually went up forward and decided to see how much damage I could take with no shields and no retaliate, which was interesting. It took a lot, mind you. I was getting my absolute face caved in, and I was waiting for the actual rule machines to pull their explosion card, self-destruct card, which they didn't. Funnily enough, we haven't seen that in a really long time. Like, it was just derelict elevator where it was like we had to talk about how much of a potential problem these ruined machines are, and is it bullshit that they can do this, and yet we don't really see it anymore.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, we went in there. We just started carving things up, getting our faces caved in, banner healing, and so on and so forth. It wasn't exactly. It was very run of the mill, but in an enjoyable way. It was. I was enjoying what was happening down there, and then eventually, yeah, Phil just went up and sort of sat in the shadows as he was slowly making his way over to the guy, and the guy was slowly working its way towards Phil, and then we were getting a little overwhelmed down there. It was there was a few bit happening, but then Gaz and I and Mark started to turn it around down there. There was a bit where it was getting a little bit too much, and I was getting really low, but worried about discarding. And then we kind of had this breakthrough where we could actually start clearing some stuff. We were making some burgers. It was great. And then the game finished. It's like someone pulled the plug of the console. It was like what?
It's like when you're playing Dota and you think that you're going to lose, and then suddenly someone thrones. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, wait, the game's done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't expect that, right?
Yeah.
Like, or, that episode of your favorite TV show where things are happening and then you haven't been watching the clock, so you don't know that it's almost been 48 minutes, and then it just finishes. Done.
To be fair, he did announce it on the turn he was doing it, and he's like, okay, I'm going to go deal with the boss now. I walk up, I do this, I use my hat, I do my combo, blah, blah, boss dead. And it was kind of like, we just...
We knew this, yeah.
We just need to pick up the loot that, okay, we're not in the right spots, and we're not...
Yeah, and look, that kind of lands on all of us, because we joked about how the fact that he was going to delete the boss whenever he wanted to. We talked about the idea that we wanted to loot. We did suggest that he stay down for a bit longer, but at no point did we actually say, no, you should wait. Like, he did wait a couple of turns, like we asked, and that made sense to clear a few of the things. But I think it surprised him and us again in how quickly, like, oh yeah, of course you were going to do that. That just makes sense. So again, it's one of those things where he probably could have stayed down with us for at least another two turns and still had like the cards to get out there and kill the guy.
I think it was the timing and the stars aligned situation, because he was very apologetic. He was just like, oh my God, I didn't mean to end it that quickly. And it was like, no, it's fine. Like, these things happen. They're happening now, but this is something where we're learning to deal with, and we're calling it now the fill timer. The fill timer expired at that moment, and he just was and he just finished it off.
Yeah. And again, like, he was very apologetic, but I want to make sure, like, no shade at all on him. Like, he did an amazing job, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do, and we all knew that that's what he was doing. No one was like, no, Phil, don't do it. Like, no, I'm gonna do it because I do whatever I want, and I'm a rebel without a cause, right? Like, it was all planned. We just planned poorly, and he was the execution of that plan.
Yeah.
Like, all right, yeah, go. Oh yeah, that's right. It's finished.
Yeah.
Done.
And look, it was a little anticlimactic, in that because the boss is so squish, and it was kind of over. It was like, oh, okay. I guess that's it.
And the worst thing is that I was trying to die because I had the battle goal of exhaust first, and I was like, it doesn't matter if I'm alive. So I was trying to run into all the baddies, going like, I've got another turn or at least two. Hopefully they draw the explosion card, and I could just discard all my cards. But they didn't, and then.
So if you need to exhaust, just let them make your health go down. Don't discard, right?
Huh?
Just lose all your health.
That's what I was trying to do.
But you said discard. I'm assuming you mean discard to negate the damage, but just
yeah, I could just die, couldn't I?
Just die.
Oh, I didn't think of that. I mean, I didn't get the opportunity to do it. But yeah, I could have just been like, turn. That would have been so funny if it was like turn 4 is like you get hit for 4. It's like, oh, okay, you're gonna discard because you're on 3. It's like, no, I exhaust. But you've got 10 cards in your hand. It's like, yes, I choose to exhaust for reasons.
Yes. So yeah, we finished it. We got our rewards. It opened up 2 new scenarios, scenario 23 and 24. We gained 1 collective everything, and by that I mean wood, lumber, and that's the same thing, and metal and hide. And then yeah, we basically go back to help people level up.
Yeah, because this is a optional link.
I can't remember if this one was the link one. There's link symbols on 23 and 24. I don't know if it's saying I don't know if it's saying that 23 and 24 both will be links from whatever they unlock.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the next one's optional link, which sucks because I finished the 2 XP away from leveling up.
Oh,
And yes, before anyone
was
asks, I
that
did
getting
include the
the
2
the
XP
two
for
XP for
yeah,
that?
for
Oh,
the
okay.
stupid thing. Yep. So, like, yes, 2 XP away,
Yeah,
right? Because that's just my life.
that's right. And we don't get XP for finishing scenarios anymore, which is pretty interesting.
Not even 2.
No,
We
look,
didn't even get 2 for finishing the never-ending story.
no, that's true. No, it's yeah, you're in that weird thing. You need to make up for your 2 XP in some way so that you stay back on target, like back on that plateau kind of thing. Because right now you're 2 XP behind every time.
The problem is that the next one we go to is one of those optional links, and it's probably not going to make much sense to go back to Frosthaven again because I'll be the only person that levels. Everyone else will be like, 20% into a level. So it's going to be like, okay, I guess we won't go back because I mean that makes sense.
Yeah,
So it's probably going to be another 2 scenarios before I can level up. I'm just going to be level 3 forever.
yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fine.
No, there is. It sucks.
Level 2, you should be 3.
And that's what I said,
Oh,
level 3
okay,
forever.
okay.
Actually, you know what? We're probably going to get so much prosperity by the time that I actually get back to Frosthaven to level, the prosperity
Just
will have gone
re-roll it.
up.
Just
And the
re-roll it with
average level will be higher, and I just instantly level anyway.
just re just re-roll your banner
That's,
spear.
I don't need to. It's in the
Okay.
rules.
It is in the rules. You get free
So,
levels.
yeah.
What were your thoughts on scenario 15?
Oh, yeah, that was cool. I mean, like, it's one of those ones that we've talked about. It's basically just do a bunch of fighting, play your cards, do cool shit, and then the thing will end when someone kills the boss. I think it's a really cool way of doing a fighting one without it just be kill all enemies. And it's probably one of the few unlimited spawn ones that I've seen that has actually been quite good.
Mm,
Um, Again, I suppose the caveat to all of these things, and we talked about this a little bit on our top 10 worst and top 10 best, is like these are ones that we felt good or felt bad, right? Like I'm sure someone could play this one and have a rubbish time. Like I can see it. I can see how,
yeah.
depending on your makeups. But no, I had fun. It was good.
I actually didn't mind this. I went into this one dreading it a little bit because I think there's been some talk about how it's very kind of meh and it's kind of just it just ends. There are things that I was under the impression of, but I didn't go into this thinking that way. I went into it from I guess I was thinking about the looting opportunity, so I didn't think about it more from a difficulty or anything like that. I was like, this is a great scenario for this, and that's where I was excited for it, and and not to put more like emphasis on my point or anything like that. But I'm just saying, I looked at this scenario in a positive light instead of I hated it,
Yeah.
right?
So yeah, so I looked at this in a positive light in that it wasn't going to be meh because you know what, we could really just pull together and focus on looting, which would end up being a really good outcome. Because even though the scenario might be a bit lackluster and does just end, we would walk away with heaps of loot, which is what we need, and it would really
Yes.
kind of reinvigorate Frosthaven. Now we didn't loot much or at anything at all, and the scenario just ended. So
Well, what did happen was ages ago through events and whatnot, we got to put a little sticker, and it cost us a lot of money, right? But we got to put a little +1 sticker on our lumber, and I think on our metal cards, we finally drew both of those in this scenario. So they're like 1/6 of the way of paying us back or breaking even or something like that.
breaking
So
even,
yeah,
yeah.
breaking even. So
I think
that was
the
exciting.
wood one I think is fine, but the metal one that we're in debt for a long time. Like we got like a small loan with like 1,000,000% interest rate. Like
Yeah.
we are, yeah.
Yeah, so we got 3 wood from that, which is fine, which has gone straight into the Frosthaven bank, and it's all good.
All
What were
good.
my thoughts? I said the fill timer. Um, it was potentially a stressful scenario, but not for us. Although it was actually a little bit for me. I was a bit where I was like, look, face tanking without a shield and without retaliate, kind of feels pointless. But also someone had to do it and sit up front. Sorry, much potentially loot gone. ... Okay, I'll stop banging that drum. Sorry, it was just in my notes. Did Ormi survive scenario 15?
Oh nah, he gets just shot too much.
I think
I
so.
think there's no way of him. Oh, I suppose we get to choose targets, right? So maybe if he doesn't try to be a hero.
Yeah, but he's
I
gonna
mean,
try
that's
and
not
be a
his
hero.
style. Yeah, exactly. So no, I think we'd have to really focus on heals and protecting him to keep him alive.
Yeah, it'd be funny if like we killed everything in the first room, waiting for another ruined machine spawn, and he just climbs up and tries to deal with the boss himself before anyone else can get up there.
Blocks us out.
Yes. No, what are you doing? We're just looking up at him, and he's just heroically going towards the
I've
boss.
got this, guys. I hit for 2 and I can crit. Yeah, Yeah, it would actually be a fun scenario to do with Ormy because I think again you'd have to funnel everything into keeping him alive, like much like what happened with that other one that he was actually in, which was kind of bit meh in general as well. I feel like this is one of those ones that would have been okay, how do we keep this guy alive?
Yeah.
Like everything, how do we do it? And that would have been the focus. So it might
Mm.
have again kind of like
That's
here's
kind of how we do it with Mark though. Like how are we
how
gonna
do we
keep
keep
the
Mark
dragon?
alive?
Yes. He takes 5 damage and it's most of his health.
Yeah, yeah. And I do want to publicly apologize for ruining one of Mark's turns.
Oh
I went like
yeah,
one
you
initiative
did.
earlier than him and just ate all his traps.
That's
So
right.
apologies, Mark.
He can make more. He can make more. We got our first pet.
Oh yeah, hypothetically happened.
Yeah, that thing we were talking about. We got
Mm,
ourselves a ruin machine,
that's right. Yep. So
which
I
allows
threw
us
my
to spend it to everyone get 1 shield for the turn or 1 shield for that
something like
round,
that.
which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. So
Yep.
yeah, I
Yep.
wonder who that's going to be named after. Who do you think it might be
I
named
don't
after?
know. I don't
Oh,
know. Well, it's random, so it could be anyone.
that's true. That's
Who's going
true.
to be the ruin machine?
I don't
So
know. We'll find out next week.
yeah.
But yeah, pet 1 done, which is really cool. At least we can get one every scenario, maybe.
And so if you do want to play this, you don't have to jump into the Discord and talk heaps. Like it'd be great to get everyone in because we've been slowly drip feeding people in and it's cool meeting people and just talking rubbish. We've got a whole bunch of different channels as well. So it's not all Frosthaven stuff. Like we do talk about other games. Some Clock Tower stuff has gone up. So definitely if you're looking for a kind of small, chill community to talk with a bunch of people that are pretty cool, like I think everyone so far and there's been fun and it's been cool to talk to, just jump in. Like jump in, say hi. We'll put you on the list, and you can just kind of lurk if you want.
Yeah. I provide a link at the end of every episode in the show notes to keep it up to date. So yeah, just click that or something.
Yeah,
We had our second outpost phase to finish these things up. We got attacked again, which is really awesome. Yeah, it was just another one. We're just pouring resources again. The same yada yada story, but we managed to pull through. Oh, did we pull? We burned through a lot of soldiers. I know we did that for both attacks. Actually, we're starting to plow through those now, so we're not looting soldiers. So we're getting a bit low on
because we
those.
figured out wrecked buildings suck.
Yeah.
Like, and we don't have. Well, before we weren't using the soldiers because we had the resources to pay for it.
Mm.
Well, like it doesn't matter. Like we don't care, right? We're flush. And now we're like we have nothing, so we're gonna burn these human bodies instead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this particular outpost card actually said wreck all damaged buildings, right? So this time we had to sort of go with the advantage and use some of the
Yeah.
soldiers to prevent that from happening. But other than that, nothing overly exciting happened. I'm pretty sure Mark and Phil maybe leveled up and
Yep.
were exchanging
I
card
didn't.
information. I also didn't.
I was
Um,
trying. I was like just hoping we were going to get some like random scenario or the outpost event that was like gain 5 XP for solving this fucking puzzle. But no.
no, don't be silly. All right. Very quickly, our battle goals for scenario 15. We had Weakling become exhausted before any other character. Bow. That was you. You look like you're thinking about it. We had Ascetic collect fewer loot tokens than any other character, the most misread card in Frosthaven
So
history.
that's what's so funny is that was Phil, and he's like, "So did everyone loot something?" We're like, "No, specifically, this is the problem. We didn't get to loot enough." He's like, "Ah."
That's right.
It's like we just complained about this. Like,
That's right. Phil did not get that one because he also, misunderstood and was like, no, but one person, I got less than Gaz, and then we had to explain to
oh,
him what
it's
happened
such
to
a
us.
badly worded
Yeah,
card.
what happened to us ages ago. Someone got Tormentor again, Gaz. I've got a question you were shuffling because this is doing the rounds. Apply a different negative condition to an enemy that already has one or more negative conditions. Don't know if Mark got it, but it's definitely still being chosen by people and not being fulfilled. And then we had Assassin, kill an enemy before it takes its first turn. And that was mine, and I got it when those ruin machines spawn.
Hey, good job. That's your first one, isn't
That is
it?
my first one, and it's a double, so I'm really happy with that.
Nice, nice.
Because all my perks have so far come from finishing scenarios and events. I haven't actually done a battle goal yet, because most of the times I feel like they're going to book the scenario.
Oh, hang on. No, 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 no. Like, also, you keep picking the same one,
Oh, yeah,
which you
that
can't
one.
do.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, I could force it, but then it's awkward. I'm not hitting the thing, right? I'm not hitting the ice thing. All right, that's the end of that. we have a topics. We have a topics thing in our Discord at the moment that people are starting to write in, and one of our Discord community members, Weedy, I think people might know him. He actually
We
asked
interviewed him.
us. Yeah, he actually asked us a question. He said, "Christmas episode idea. We are getting closer to Christmas. We will get one more episode, which we might make more Christmassy next week, before actual Christmas." But he said, "Christmas episode idea. If you could ask Isaac in brackets Santa for one thing to be added to the Haven series, what would you ask for? It could be mechanical. It could be functional, like a different organizer / app, physical content, different minis, etc." My fake answer is a big red button that when you press it, it actually calls Isaac directly, so he can answer every rules question right there and then, which would, be really convenient. It's only fair. He made the game, so he should be there for his customers who need help in enjoying his creation 24/7.
Well, you know how my fake answer is going to be like, you know how like you want something and then the joke is you get the wish version,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So it's the same thing, but it calls dwarf.
I was about to say that. So dwarf is what I was going to
Yeah.
say. That's fair.
Yeah.
But he's not there 24/7, but he's up a lot. He does help. Especially he should be well asleep when we play, and he actually responded to one of my inquiries last week, which is pretty cool.
I
Um,
feel like a job where you have multiple time zone calendars on your calendar. He needs to do that to understand when we're playing, so that he can adjust his entire sleeping and working schedule and
yeah,
family schedule because he has a family around like no. I have to be awake between these 4 hours where these stupid Australian people play this game.
that's right. To make sure they're doing it right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they might write on Reddit. My actual answer is I wouldn't mind a speedier way to speed up the monster turns, but I realize that's probably borderline impossible. Some little gadget that scans the board and goes, "Oh yes, that one's going to move first, and that one's going to do." I'd say get to working on the next Haven series though, Isaac. Keep doing what you're doing because we absolutely love his creations and would love for this to be an ongoing series forever.
Ooh, wow. I mean, yeah, you only have to put out one game every 5 years, and it kind of goes forever, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, what you're asking for sounds very much like a digital adaptation of the game.
Hmm. I will play the shit out of Frosthaven Digital if it comes out. We've got two
Yeah.
paths that we didn't go down, right? The Algos one. We'd
Hmm.
have to experience all that again.
Well, I really enjoy, even though I missed a chunk of Gloomhaven the first time through, I really enjoyed playing the digital version because it's faster. Like me and my mate would jump on in of an evening and probably like less time than we normally spend of a week, and we'd actually usually get 2 scenarios done
Mm,
like easily. And that was sometimes 2 scenarios and then a retirement and a new character, and then we'd go just bang out the first scenario. So you can get through it really quickly, especially playing with two people.
mm,
So yeah, I think I would as well. I think I would definitely. Uh, yeah, I'd go back because it's whole. But you just choose everything you didn't choose.
mm.
Yeah, that's cool.
His follow-up question to this is if Santa was a Haven class, what class would he be and why?
Well, my answer to the first one, because you didn't ask me.
I was waiting for you to just jump in and you didn't, so I
That's
moved
fine.
on.
You was like, "Oh, I'm
Oh,
moving on."
sorry.
I would like a game set like in the Haven universe that's not Gloom or Frosthaven. So I know we have Founders. Is it Founders of
That is Gloomhaven.
Gloomhaven?
Yeah.
And I know there's like the mini bugs and bits
Mm-hmm.
game coming out, and there's the RPG. So I don't think they are expanding it. But I'd love
Sounds
like a
like you want
work.
Jaws of the Lion.
Huh?
Sounds like you want Jaws of the Lion.
Well, that's just
You
that's
didn't
just
you,
the game.
you didn't mention it though, so you just
Oh
mentioned
well,
everything
no, well,
else.
because it's part of Gloomhaven
Ah, okay,
for me.
okay.
So I think I'd either want like a deck builder because I think the deck building aspects of Gloomhaven and Frosthaven are quite good, but it's a small piece of it, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's a lot more you could do with that, uh, or a worker placement.
Yeah, okay.
Something that's quicker and more casual, like a cool casual deck builder game. I've got some ideas, so as that call me. But no, I think that I think expanding the Haven universe would be cool because I think it's not a super deep universe, but it's got some cool themes in it. And I think
Mm,
the more you add to it that way, the better it becomes.
yeah.
And yeah, it'd be cool to see a different kind of shorter, more casual kind of
It Could be cool actually, because you could do that around the actual building of, the shitty parts of Frosthaven, like because it's not this grand city which Gloomhaven was, which is maybe where Founders of Gloomhaven is the grand building of the city. You've got a little tiny ass village that's constantly getting raided. Like there is something really cool with worker placement you could probably do there as the people, the inhabitants of Frosthaven who are building it and building these buildings that the heroes are coming back and saying, hey, unlock this, I've opened an envelope, make my stables, make my this and that, and you're running around doing a whole bunch of resource management, worker placement, as well as fending off attacks through worker placement. Yeah, kind of like Champions of Midgard or something like that, which would be really cool.
And feeding your villagers wood like in Stone Age.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
With the stinky cup. If you got Stone Age and you got a stinky cup, let me know, because I guarantee Gaz doesn't believe my stinky cup theory.
What do you mean? I've got Stone Age and it has a stinky
Oh,
cup.
okay, cool.
Like I know it because I can go open it. In fact, it's probably back there somewhere.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
all right. Second question, because I think we're running a bit long.
Okay. If Santa was a Haven class, what class would he be and why?
All right. So I went with, I think he'd be a high card limit character, because I feel like card limit's kind of like stamina, and I feel like Santa could go all day.
Yep.
Like he goes like for ages, right? Like he's, he works real hard. So he'd be a 12 card character, which I think is probably as high as you want to go without it being dumb. So his gimmick is going to be health as well. I think he'd be not the top, but he'd be like good health.
Medium health.
Not like
drifter health.
Yeah, medium health. Yeah, drifter health. Yeah. His gimmick would be a naughty or nice list. All right. So what happens is anytime a monster or an ally, I guess, because you have the Gemini, but anytime someone does something negative to Santa, right, then that character or that model gets goes up on a rating of the naughty list or the nice list, depending if it's good or bad, right? And then when he plays his cards, right, that do damage or heals or status effects and stuff, depending on the target's rating on the naughty or nice list, it does more or less things. It's like thresholds, right? If they're past a certain threshold, add poison. If they're past the extra threshold, right, then do +1 damage and stuff like that.
No, I love it.
So that's how his cards would work. And his card types, a suite of types of cards, some examples of what he would have. So he'd have to have a big jump card that's like a sleigh, like just get anywhere you want to be, right, just go.
Yeah.
Maybe even a persistent card that kind of burns away, and it's like, called like Christmas Night, and you get to, like, for 3 turns, you just get to jump around like anywhere you want to go on the map, like a teleport.
Yeah.
He'll definitely have to have summon reindeer pets.
Yep.
I don't know if 12, is that how many reindeers Santa has? I don't know. Like, that's a lot. Imagine going like, I'm going to cast summon reindeers, plonk 12 reindeers on the map. I don't know if 12 is the right number.
Well,
but
maybe the drawback to that ability is that there's not enough space. So you have to pick the right timing for it. Otherwise, you can't summon them all, right?
That's right. And the other one I was thinking is some kind of like elf cards that's kind of like trinkets or gadgets. So like the elves that make the toys, he kind of gets like this kind of weird, tinkerer style like things that he can pull out, right? So it's like elf made X. He kind of has these little items that he gets. So that's my designed in 2 minutes Santa Frosthaven class.
Yeah, okay. It's kind of weird. We've gone in very similar directions.
Oh, really? Okay.
Kind of. So my Santa has medium health. Mostly ranged attacks though. Has a token system similar to the Blink Blade, except he has naughty and nice tokens. All right. So it sits on a sack card. And a Santa wants token. All right, so this is where we differ a little bit. So Santa can't verbally communicate, but he can use the Santa token to tell the table of a point of interest, ultimately. So he puts it on a space. Does it mean he wants to go there? Does it mean you want to go there? Does it mean he wants you there? Does he want you to pull the monster there? Who knows? He can't communicate it. He can just try and communicate as best he can with this. It could be, I'd like to move there, or I'd like you to move there. If you do what he wanted, though, you gain a nice token, which gives a variety of buffs from, +1 attack or +1 move, a chainsaw, all the way to a reindeer mount. If you don't do what Santa is wanting, you get a naughty token, which can reduce your attack. It can stun you. It can force you to lose 1 level. Or the level 9 card is spawn an elite Chaos Demon. So there's that. Due to Santa being able to squeeze down chimneys, he can actually move through 2 monsters who are adjacent to each other. Normally you can't go through them, so he can, and he doesn't actually need a jump to do it. But this causes him to drop his sack on the ground, and in turn randomizes all his naughty and nice tokens. So it's a bit more of a gamble what's going to happen with Santa, because he doesn't know which tokens are which anymore. So he's now just, that's part of the drawback. He's dishing out naughty and nice tokens, and look, you could be doing the right thing. You're probably going to get a naughty token. Who knows? Finally, his double perk is you no longer do road events when traveling to a scenario, because you take the sled and you take it up into the sky and you actually fly. But then you get air events, which are usually bad unless
Sled deck.
yes, unless you carry the lurker class trait, because everyone's scared of flying crabs. So I think together we can make something here.
I think we've got a really good idea. In fact, copyright. What do you have to say? Like patent it? Patent.
Yeah.
We gotta write it on a letter and mail ourselves, so we've got evidence that we came up with it first.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
But
No, this is good. That was great. I loved it. There was a
yeah,
lot of really cool ideas in that. I love. Yeah, it's interesting. We've gone in similar spaces, but played in them in different ways. So
yeah.
yeah, I think you're right.
Thanks, Weedy. Thanks for that one. Send us more fun things to discuss, and yeah, we'd love to cover them. Not always just you, by the way. Like everyone. I'm
Yeah,
saying generally.
only specifically Weedy. Okay, it's now Weedy's channel of ideas. So
We will wrap it up there, though. So thank you so much. Yeah, we're looking forward to. I don't even know where we're going next. I think we'll leave it as a surprise. Sometimes we do announce it to people in our Discord. This time we're going to go blind, and we'll just see what we choose. But yeah, we'll see you next week. I have been Teddy. I've been joined again by Gaz.
and remember, when it comes to rolling terribly, it's all in the wrist.